All right. So this is also like online. You can download this course from Blackboard as well. It has a lot of information in it that I won't go into like detail right now. But basically, it's a really nice course. It covers a lot more than you will need. But there are a couple of really neat things about this course. Basically, let's get started. This you will have to change that to USC somewhere. IT gives you access to Matlab. In Matlab, you have like 3 main windows. So basically, the workspace where you all have your variables that you currently store that are on your memory disk. And like that you can access and visualize. You have a command history, like what you have typed just before. You can rerun stuff, and this is your command window. This is like the main interface. I'm gonna show you how this looks like on a Mac. And this is a more recent version. So in this case, so this is my workspace. This is my command history. You see like all the fun stuff that I'm doing here. So I'm like creating sequences of numbers. This is my file, my directory, and this is like how my Matlab looks like. I can do funny stuff like I don't know. Let's say so two of the most important things that I think you should know about are the functions help, doc, and look for. Okay? Because we don't want you to reinvent the wheel. Okay? So let's say we have a problem. We want to plot something, but I don't know how to plot something. So let's look for plot. Okay? There's a lot of ways you can plot, but basically you can go through and say like, okay, I want actually a simple plot. So like, where is just a plot function? Okay, this is the plot function. There's a plot function. I can click on this thing, and then now it gives me the help about the plot functions right here. This is also what you get if you type help plot. Okay. If you want some more information, you can say doc plot. Okay, then you get this kind of like information. It has like a couple of examples, so like this could be your input arguments. Where do we have an example? Oh, here's an example. Create the line. Create the line plot. Define blah blah blah. This is my variables. I can copy that here. Okay, so I did that. Where's my plot gone? Nope. Okay, so I just lost my doc window. Here it is. So I copied this. Now I want to like copy that stuff. And now let's see what's happening. So it's busy right now. Down here you see that. Okay. It takes a little long. I'm surprised. Why does it take so long?
Because in background, I think another window.
No, that's my editor. I can close that though. Okay, anyways, it should produce this. I don't know why this happens right now. This is a bit ridiculous. I think I lost my connection to ICT. So my Matlab is tied to ICT, which is a bit painful. Ah, there we go. Okay, so here's our plot. Okay? So that's cool. Let's see what's going on in here. So this is how the window looks like. You can type commands here in the command window, and again, help, doc, and look for. Okay. We don't need to make folders. We don't need to customize anything. Yeah, and it starts actually like this. Help, sign. So this gives you help about the sign function. This gives you documentation about the sign function. Let's make a script, okay? So first script that everybody does in computer science is going to be a hello world script, right? So let's say edit hello world .m. So it always asks you like this, oh, it doesn't exist. Do you want to create it? Yeah, sure, let's do it. So does anybody know how to do this?
This,
Yeah, very good. This, and then this is a string. Hello world. Oh. I'm a horrible typer, by the way. Okay, so this works. What else works? This works. Oh, fprintf. And then, and in this case, this will produce one line, but we can like make a line break here. So this will work. We can go back here and say, now that we created the hello world script, we say hello world. And again, it's busy. There we go. Okay, so we produce it twice, okay? So that's easy. And you can also use the GUI of the Matlab to create a new script. That's very easy. You can also create it outside and then run it inside Matlab if you have already something that you downloaded. These percentage symbols, they always introduce a comment, so anything after a percentage symbol is not going to be executed. In this case, the guy like produced like a heads and tails like coin toss example. Rand here is not a variable, but it's a function, okay? So Matlab is a bit funky about excuse me, naming conventions. So in this case, rand is actually a function, not a variable. I think it's not the best example, so we can do this in Matlab. We can say rand. It's a random number. We can also say, and I think this is cleaner, rand and then the brackets, which makes it clear that it's a function. In Matlab, it's kind of cool because we can also do like, we can give it 1 in this case and say I want 1 random number, but I can also say I want 10 random numbers. I can also say I want 2 by 3 random numbers. I can also say I want 4 by 1 random numbers, okay? And it always creates a matrix, and depending on like what the first one is always number of lines, and the second index is always number of columns. So 1, 2, 3 columns or 1, 2, 3 lines, okay? So that's important. And Matlab is really cool about like doing matrix multiplications, matrix manipulations. So if I want to, for example, create a variable, this is how you create a variable, and I create this variable. So is this going to be a line or like a row vector or a line vector? This is going to be a line vector. Oh, I should remove this. So this is a line vector, and now let's do B. What is this going to be? It's going to be a row vector. And then, can I add this? A plus B. No, because the matrix dimensions don't work, but I can add these because I can transpose. No, well, oh, there's a D. I can transpose B and add them then, okay?
Yeah.
But can I multiply them? Yes. Okay? So this is like in calculus, matrix multiplications, matrix manipulations, adding, etc. You need to have them in the same way. If you multiply them, you need to have them the other way. Okay? Cool. Alright, so let's continue here. What is he talking about next? Yeah, comments. Use comments. They're cool. Another cool function in Matlab actually is double columns, comments. Where is my editor? Where'd it go? I should really close the rest of this stuff. It's gone. There it is. So I can say the script, whatever, does hello world. Okay, and then I can do another one of those, and then this, like these double comments, they create sections. Okay, so a equals whatever, random 1, 3, and now in Matlab this is kind of cool. You can run sections, and then run sections like separately, or run section in advance. Okay, so this is kind of a nice way to structure your code. In the end, you can also publish your work. So this is kind of neat because you can how can I say? You can create the script in Matlab and have just the M file, and then produce whatever it produces into like a nice HTML file, or you can put it into an XML file, a LaTeX file, or a PDF file. And so here we could do plot. I don't know what are we gonna plot, like minus pi to pi, something like that. And then publish this. So now we run it and publish it, and now we have an HTML file that does, this does something, plot something. I can jump here, it produces the plot in here, it produces whatever is printed onto the command window as well. So this is actually nice, like if you want to submit, and it's like a suggestion, if you want to submit your Matlab code like this as an HTML file, so I can walk through and like, this is what you guys did, these are the comments, these are like the outputs, these are the plots. That would be really nice for me to like grade whatever you've produced. Okay, this is kind of neat and nice and cute about Matlab. Yeah, so a string is introduced with these like signal hyphens. No, what is these? Like apostrophes. Variables, we saw that, like you can say A equals something, B equals something. You can make matrices. You can say variable 1 is this, so this is like kind of like a little bit like pi, but there are variables like pi and I that are so I is used often for index. Pi is like a system variable. That's not a function like rand. It's actually like the number pi if you want to use that. Ans is the latest thing that you did. INF is infinity or minus infinity, and INF, man, and minus INF, these are not numbers, right? You can't work with them. Like if you add something to infinity, it's still going to be infinity, right? Or if you divide by 0, you get not the number, okay? So these are a couple of things to bear in mind. So pi, we can print it. It's more accurate than this in the system, but it won't print more than this. You can say you want to print more than this, so you can say fprintf. I want to have I think this is how it works. 1 second. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you can print more than these just 4 variables of pi if you want to. So the system knows it is there, but it doesn't look very nice if you print it out like that, okay? So that's just an example. Oh yeah, there's also EPS. That's epsilon. That's also there, just so you know. So if you want to make sure at some point like your code might divide by 0 somewhere, you can always say like, I don't know, 1 divided by 0 plus EPS. Okay. So that works. It's not the best programming, but it is it is viable. You can manipulate variables. You can multiply. You can divide. It's always going to be matrices. So we had that before. So like if you use comma between numbers, you create a line, and if you use semicolon between numbers, like here, you create a row, okay? And then you can ask what's the size of a row vector, what's the size of a column vector, and it gives you like the two different sizes. The length is always the longest dimension that you have. One cool thing also is you can produce sequences of numbers, like so. So you can say, I want numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, and you use that with like the double point or whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm not English. English is not my native language. But you can also like go between 1 and 10, but in smaller increments. You can say, I want to go in 10th increments, right? That produces those, so like 6.6, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9, etc. Okay? So you can do that too. You can also do it the other way around. You can say, I want to go down from 10 to 1 if you index by -0.1. Okay? So these are cool things in Matlab that you can do with vectors and matrices. So we had that. You can create matrices like 2x2 matrices. You can create a 2x2 matrix by concatenating like A and B in this case to make D, which is 2 line vectors. You can create more complex ones. You can create really crazy ones. Okay? And these are strings. We don't need them a lot. You can save stuff, you know, save my file, whatever. You can also do this through, like, you can like mark this and say, oops, save as. So that's, you don't have to use the commands for that. You can clear your variables. It's like clear all. I don't want to see anything anymore. Everything's gone here. You can say close all. You close all your plots. They're gone. I want to clean up this screen here. It's too clogged. I say CLC. So there are a couple of nice commands. You can find them all in this course here. Yeah, you can use the clock time. Like clock is also a function, so the clock gives you something. Clock gives you like a time. So let's say start equals clock. So now start is this, and then you can create a date string out of this. So let's say date string of start is 13th of January 2016. So that's kind of nice, but not very useful. Not gonna use it, I think. Yeah, you can write funny stuff. Manipulating variables, we've talked about this. You can divide, you can multiply. Yeah, this is not very useful. You can use exponents, like using the little roof thingy. You can make more complicated nested expressions. So what's the rule for this? It's bracket before like division or multiplication and so on. Okay, you remember that? You have basic functions like square root, log 10. So this is the natural log, this is the log 10. Cosine, arcus tangens, exponential. You can round functions. You can floor values. You can seal values. So what do you think that like this will give?
1.
1, exactly. If this is 1.5, what it gives?
2.
2. What does this give?
3.
3, exactly. What does this give?
5.
Perfect. You can like manipulate between angles and radians and stuff like that. So there's a lot of this kind of stuff. Abs is absolute value, kind of cool functions. We use that a lot. What do we have here? Yes. Transposing. You can use the function transpose, but you can also just say tick transpose. Okay, so that turns around the variable. So let's say what do we have here? We had this one here. So now ands transposed is this. Okay, and then ands transposed is this again, and so on. Okay, so you can transpose variables. You can add and divide, etc. using the matrix notation, but you can also sum. So let's sum over ands, so sum ands 55 and so on. Okay, that all works. This is my patent. Don't look at that. You can multiply. You can take the exponent of like a whole vector. So let's create the vector again. So gives you a vector. Okay. You can do these like multiply, divide, and exponent on the whole matrix, only if it's, like if the matrix fits, but you can also do them element-wise. So one option, so what I could do is A equals 1, no, that's bad, A equals 2, and B equals, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, right? So I can say A times B. Oh, that's yeah. Okay, this is kind of a pointless example. But you can okay. What example would be nicer? So B is 1, 2, 3, and I can say exponent of B, and I get this. But I can also do like something like this. Where is it? There. This like squares every element. This could be, yeah. So this breaks. That's a good example. But now I can square every element separately using the dot notation. And you can like try out these things by yourself. Vector operations. I think we had that. Yeah, so you can create variables. You can initialize a variable or like a matrix using ones or zeros, random numbers. We had that. Not the numbers. That's not very useful. Or you can do that. So this is number of rows, number of columns. It's very important. Okay, this is always the same. Everything in Matlab always uses number of rows, number of columns. You can use linspace, but you can also just use this notation to like step between numbers. We had that. what else? Yeah, so you can like sub-index, so you have like a variable here, and you say I want just vector like 2 and 3, so I just want 13 and 5, or I want 1 till the end minus 1, so it's like this is 12, and this one, and then not this one because that's always end, so like the end is always the index of the end of the column. That's also very very useful. Advanced indexing, yeah, so you can use this symbol to get the whole column or the whole row. And plotting, I think we had that a little bit, so you can like create these kind of cool plots. There are different versions of plots, so you can have a line plot, you can have scatter plots, you can have box plots, etc. There's a lot to explore, and I think we're gonna explain some of those and use some of those in the homeworks. But I think this is kind of like a very brief overview of functionalities in Matlab that you can use. It's like we're gonna ease into it. We're gonna like try to get you guys going using Matlab. It's not gonna be too hard, but these are kind of like the basic things. And I think, you know, like I know that this is not enough that I just like walked you through the slides, but you have the slides online. I think a good assignment for next week and the week after that would be try to use Matlab, try to like do some cool stuff like plot, I don't know, like a sinus function or a cosine function. Try to do some matrix multiplications. Try to do a for loop, for example. Like, you know, for loops are no magic in Matlab either. And like try to write a function and call the function within the command window. It could be a hello world function. And so on. So there's a lot of stuff that you can like try to get used to it. It's not going to be super hard. We're going to talk a little bit about functions and for loops and if clauses and stuff like that, and Boolean functions next week in Matlab as an introduction. But it's just, you know, try to like, you know, get used to it, warm up with Matlab. It's a cool tool. Many researchers use it for like a lot of different works, and I mean I start it every day, even though I'm not like really using it too much anymore, but you know, like get used to it and try to play around with it. Cool, that's it. See you next week.
Python?
Python, you can use Python, but I don't want to learn something new.
Okay.
I'm too old for this.
Okay. Oh, remember that little acronym that you asked me about your braces? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Please excuse me, dear Aunt Sally.
Yeah. Exponent, parentheses, exponent.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Yeah.